Hi, David. I've got 4 o'clock. I'll call the meeting to order. My name is Dan Guard. I'm the president of the Board of Sewer District, Montgomery County Regional Sewer District. First item on our agenda is to approve the October 8, 2025 board meeting minutes. I'd entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
David Reeves, so moved.
Joyce Grimble, second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Oppose? Motion passes. Next is our bank balances. Joyce?
I got it.
Yep.
The operating balance is $141,216.27. The maintenance account is $16,389.84. And the money market is at $29,524.14.
Thank you. Next is our administrative report, BCS management. Chris?
Chris Kellner, BCS Management. The fund balances are strong. The trailing 12-month average regular operating claims, once we've removed pump and haul and other kind of pass-through claims, are sitting at 4.34 times. The fund balance is sitting at 4.34 times that trailing 6-month average. So that's really strong. That's just a good measure of liquidity and having sufficient funding for operations. That's a great thing. The capital fund is, again, it has been drawn from recently, but now that the RDC loan repayment is complete, that's $4,500 a month that can go into a capital fund and support increased savings there, which is great. The grinder pump maintenance fund is sufficient right now for ordering 5 new pumps if we need to restock. We do not. I believe we have a few right now available for anyone who needs a grinder pump. The annual budget is again on track. We were paying attention closely to the USIC and locate services. I stopped doing that with the lawsuit settlement that was going on with USIC, so not reporting anything there in terms of average ticket costs or the number of tickets. Whenever the board is ready to make a change, Asbury did submit a proposal to be able to cover locates, so the district would be covered for that if we need to make that change. And then the only other thing really to note is just the recommendation again of the RDC loan being repaid. That's done, freeing up, I would say, adding $3,000 per month to the capital fund from the operating fund going forward. So that'd be next month we can consider that. That would make it $4,000 total going into that capital fund to save for big replacements, things when Tom comes around, and then we can increase the grinder pump maintenance fund allocation from $1,000 to $2,500. So I think that would be, I recommend that to the board to consider for next month, and we can handle it then. No other real things to mention other than as far as rate reduction strategies go for the district, other than the most immediate thing, which would be connecting the 64 homes that are along the lines now that could be connected. That Mason-Lindsberg project that wasn't able to be funded before the resubmission in April 2026 is something to consider as far as a rate reduction or just a revenue generating opportunity for the district. That's all for the admin report.
Thank you. I do want to know how important and how big of a deal that is that we borrowed the money from the RSD RDC to the RSD. We've paid that back, and how much better financially we are as a district to be able to now being able to put somewhere between $40,000 and $50,000 a year into those maintenance funds to have ourselves in a position where we can pay for those things as we go, and just I feel a lot better about that. Next up is our maintenance report. I know Asbury Technology, Tom is not going to be here today. He did email those numbers out to us, or the report. Feel free to look through there. There are no action items to be spoken to. There are a few things on new business, old business, the pending item with Riggin Mechanical, still working on a proposal for them to work on a job at the district. And I noticed that we are at the 63% capacity, so we're getting closer to a truer capacity at the plant. We had been hovering over 50% for about the last 5 or 6 years, and I know that with some equipment issues and when we used to get rain, we had a couple months that those numbers were elevated and not true. A reflection of our capacity. So 50% capacity, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Tom with Asbury Technology. No project updates, no new business. Under old business, Tyler, if you want to speak to this, the proposed resolution for no more metering.
Yes, we've talked a little while, Tyler Nichols, I guess, attorney, I should say. We have talked a little while about making sure the district does not want to allow new residential users to elect to have their bills calculated through a water metering system. We dug into this and found that in 2022, the district adopted an ordinance when it updated its rates back in 22 and included a change in the user charge area that removed the ability for a new residential user to elect metered billing. Because that was kind of difficult to find, we went ahead and prepared this resolution that basically affirms the ordinance from 22 that going forward, no new residential users will be allowed to elect metered billing. It is only at the fixed rate according to the schedule of rates and charges. So this is really just an affirmation, confirmation of that can be posted on your district website so that any new incoming users are aware that there's only one way that they'll be billed. This resolution does also affirm that the current, I believe there are 2 residential users that are on metered billing. They will continue to be on metered billing. In order to change that, to remove them from metered billing, we would have to go through a new rate ordinance, which includes all the notices because it would affect potentially their rate up or down. And so our suggestion would be that the next time you adopt new rates, a new rate schedule, that you remove them from metered billing at that time, if that's what you want to do.
David Reeves. I was talking to Amy Katie the other day about this subject, and she said that the 2 that there are don't virtually use anything, and she said that those 2 really aren't a problem for her to handle. I don't want to go forward with that on others, but she said those 2 were fine, so I don't know that really much action needs to.
That was kind of my understanding.
Kind of grandfather it in and go on is what I would recommend.
Yeah, and I think the important thing is just so that we don't have new customers all of a sudden trying to do that. We had one, I think, before we got this resolved on whether the policy was to continue to allow metered usage or not, we had one customer earlier this year, last year, that actually elected that, and then they switched back because they thought, well, this actually is going to cost me too much. So this is a good policy going forward for the size of the district.
Yeah, Mike Warren, board member. I think that was mentioned when we talked about it last time. It was last meeting or 2 meetings ago that likely would be lower for them if they didn't, or could be lower if they went from metering to the.
I believe that's correct, yeah.
At this time, I would entertain a motion to approve the proposed resolution with the recommendation of Tyler.
David Reeves, I move that we adopt the proposal that Tyler presented.
Yep, Mike Warren, second.
Is there any discussion to that? All in favor say aye. Aye. Oppose? Motion passes. Next thing in old business is the BCS contract renewal. We heard from Chris Kellner last month. If, Chris, you want to refresh our memories and we can have a discussion and see.
Chris Kellner, BCS. Lana was going to be here just as the owner of the business to present this and just say briefly some about the history of serving the district since 2019. And I think that we haven't had an updated contract since then, including like a master service agreement that just changes over time naturally. So that's what motivated this. And then we proposed one, and then with the good feedback from the board and conversations with Dan, we right-sized it and set the scale of the fee and the effort involved with what really the district needs right now, and made it a fixed fee contract, because then it's not a up or down. It's easier to budget for everybody. So that's the only real change, is that it's a fixed fee and it's much lower than what we have been charging since, again, for years here. So it's I think it's a win-win for the district and for BCS. So I think that's what she would have shared.
I would entertain a motion to approve that contract, and I believe it's a 2-year contract that was presented to us.
Yeah, and I wanted to just double check. Okay, pull it up right now. I believe so. 2 years on page 7. Yeah, for when you sign. Yeah, when it's effective. Yep, 2 years.
I would make that motion.
Greg Morrison, member. I second it.
Any discussion? I know I feel a lot better about this. Having it a fixed flat rate, we know where we are as a budget, and we don't have to worry about oversight as to the work's going to get done and we're going to pay a fee. This is when in 19, when they came on board to help with this, and the RDC, it is because of the structure of the sewer district and its association with the county. It's very necessary. They're doing a really good job. Where the district is going now with the customers and the EDUs that we have and how we're functioning is where I see us in the next 5 years is different than I was seeing 5 years ago, with potential development, residential development, and even commercial development. So, and with other things going on in the county where development is now happening and not out there in that Nucor corridor as far as residential development, my personal opinion is I anticipate seeing growth in other areas. So I don't know exactly how much we are going to see growth in the very near future, residential wise, mainly on the commercial industrial side down that Nucor corridor, which would be our district. And so we already have a plan in place for when we hit that trigger mechanism for the expansion of the plant in that 75 to 78% consistent capacity. I don't anticipate that happening until we get some big commercial development out there. So we're going to be kind of I don't even know what the words for it is. We're just steady as we go. I mean, it's really just holding our course, or stay the course until we see some things go on. So I think this is good for us. So having that said, and the fact that now that we've got that money paid back to the RDC, I think we're in really good shape, and I like the direction we're going. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Oppose? That motion passes. Thank you, BCS. Next up is approval of claims. We have claims in the amount of $56,012.37. I'd entertain a motion to approve those claims.
I move we approve those claims. David Reeves.
Second, Mike Warren.
Any discussion of those claims? All in favor say aye. Aye. Oppose? Motion passes. That's all I have on the docket for today's meeting. Is there anything from the board members that needs to be addressed or discussed? If not, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. Very well, we are adjourned. Thank you. 4:16.